Hi, I'm Karissa, and welcome back to Sleep Wave, the podcast where we let waves of relaxation wash over you through original sleep meditations and hypnosis created to help you fall asleep tonight. And don't worry if you don't hear the end of an episode. I encourage you to drift off whenever you're ready. Before we get started on tonight's episode, I'd like to say thanks again for all of the great ratings and reviews you guys have left us on Apple Podcasts and some of the other networks too. We can't tell you how helpful and valuable your feedback is. It's amazing to hear that so many of you are sleeping better than ever before. So if you too find that sleep has come easier since listening to Sleep Wave and you've not yet reached out to us, please feel free to let us know via the reviews on Apple Podcasts. We read them every day, and your ratings and reviews help us reach even more people who need a little help with their sleep right now. The time when the world is quiet right before sleep is most often when the things we're too busy to hear during the day come up to the surface. Nothing will keep me up at night like a decision needing to be made. I have found myself weighing pros and cons for hours and analyzing the situation until the early morning. Ultimately, I want to avoid the pain of regret. It's a terrible feeling to think that you've chosen the wrong path or made the wrong choice. But when I look back on my life, I often see that even in those moments when I want to wave flashing red lights at my earlier self and say, "Make another choice," I can see that I was usually making the best decision I was capable of making at that time. The fact is, we don't always have all the information available to us, and sometimes we just have to make a choice. I try to give myself grace around that and know that I can course correct as needed in the future. I was in a business relationship for years that I knew with every fiber of my being was wrong for me. But I was so afraid that if I left that relationship, that I would never achieve my dreams. I was stuck in this cycle of fear and giving too much of my power away to someone else. As I look back at myself at that time, I want to offer myself a hand out of that situation and say, it's safe and healthier to move on. There are so many better things waiting for you on the other side of this. As much as I would have loved to save myself the pain and discomfort that I let myself feel for way too long, I try not to heap too much regret on that experience. I left that relationship when I was ready. And while the process of getting ready was very uncomfortable, it also taught me important things about myself. Things that have made me a stronger and more resilient person today. Whether you look back at earlier times in your life and get lost in what ifs and I wish I had, or if you are at a decision-making point right now that you are trying to get right, I invite you to offer yourself some space. As we meditate together tonight, we'll create that space in our minds. When the mind is quiet, it's easier to find both compassion for yourself and clarity within yourself. Let's let go of the questions and instead settle into the stillness of now, so that we can begin tomorrow refreshed and more able to face whatever comes our way. This is Releasing Regret for Better Sleep by Billy Gill. Do it or don't do it. You will regret both. This quote might strike you at first as very negative. The context of what the Danish philosopher Søren Kierkegaard is saying isn't that our actions are meaningless, Far from it. Whenever you make a choice of action, you are also choosing not to do an infinite amount of other things. It's not just one thing or another. It's one thing or infinite others. The fear of missing out is at the root of any regret. If I had chosen differently, that would have been better. That thought is about the unlived life that every human being must contend with. What Kierkegaard is saying is that this is a necessary component of life. You must act, and so you must choose, and whatever choice you make limits your experience. People have an aversion to limits because there is something inside of us that wants to transcend limitation. So by limiting ourselves to one course of action, we will inevitably regret the path not taken, even while simultaneously appreciating and honoring the life we have now. Tonight's sleep meditation is a path itself that you are now taking. It points toward the integration of regret in your life. When you accept regret as a natural part of life, it frees you from becoming trapped by those very natural and even useful thoughts. Regrets are insights as well. You can look back on your past actions and, having lived through the whole set of consequences, you can discern certain principles. Then, going forward, let those principles guide your steps. The regret emotion that you feel is like a message from your past that says, there is another way to go. You don't have to keep taking the same path. Of course, if you want to behave the same, you are free to repeat the actions that led to this feeling of regret, but then it's likely you will again regret it. When regret becomes a reminder to pause before taking a similar action, then regret becomes reflection. Reflection is understanding what just happened. If regret causes you to relive the emotions around an action, then you are living in the past and have no way to understand it because you are still in it. We live forward. We understand backward. This is why, when faced with a difficult decision where the outcome is uncertain, you can never be sure that there won't be some other option you'll wish you had chosen. There is a limit to our vision, and we can only see so far. However, the principles we glean through experience that often come to us by way of regret guide that vision farther. Those principles become ethics and represent a larger set of experiences than just a single fork in the road. The ethics we derive not only from our own experiences, but from those of countless others can become like a moral compass that guides us through every choice we make. Then, regret is superseded by a feeling of right and wrong. No matter the consequences, one is acting from a place of conviction. It's meaningful in the sense that when you act morally, you are deciding that there is meaning in what's right or wrong. Conscious breathing allows you to examine your emotions while also allowing them to change and shift. Emotions must be allowed to transform. They are like everything else in your body. They are constantly pulsating and flowing and transforming. When we get stuck emotionally, it's as uncomfortable as any other obstruction in your physical body would be. The tension accumulates and gives rise to pain, as well as irritability and stress. Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Notice the sense of movement and flow that comes with this slow, deep breath. Again, inhale through your nostrils and exhale through your mouth at your own pace. Do it a few more times if you like. Has your body asked for a change in position as you've begun to notice how your breath makes you feel? Honor those signals as feedback from your body in response to your breath. The breath can serve as a bridge between the intellect of the mind and the intellect of the body. Your body intuitively knows what it needs in order to find the optimal flow and function. Feel free to lie in any comfortable position. If it is possible to lie comfortably on your back, see if you can sense the natural curve of your spine. When the spine is in a neutral position, there is a slight curve of the lower back away from the bed. You may even notice a little space there. If you are still experimenting with a physical posture, try removing your pillow for a moment and walking your shoulder blades toward one another, and notice how that opens your chest. Tilt your forehead back slightly to open the throat so that your chin and the bridge of your nose are at about the same height. This will reveal the natural curve in the back of your neck. Much like the lower back, you may notice a slight curve of the back of your neck upward, away from the bed. Breathe up and down your spine. Imagine the inhale traveling from deep, deep in the pelvis and traveling upward toward the crown of your head. Then, as though it were a cascade, release the flow of breath down the spine, showering back into the pelvic basin. Go on. Follow the path of awareness along your spinal channel as each breath rises on the inhale and falls on the exhale. Notice the pauses between the breaths. Allow yourself to become interested in the flow of the breath. Don't look too hard for any certain sensation. Just pay very close attention to your breath for a long time without interruption. Pause. Exhale. Pause. Inhale. Pause. Exhale. Pause. Inhale. Pause. Exhale. Pause. If possible, breathe only through your nose, but if you need to breathe through your mouth, that's better than straining. whatever your breath wants to do, follow its tendencies and preferences with a sense of curiosity. Inhale, pause, exhale, pause. Inhale, pause, exhale, pause. Inhale, pause, exhale, pause. Go on. The breath transforms from an inhale to an exhale. Notice those moments of transformation and let your intention be to simply watch the process without interfering. Inhale up the spine. Notice the pause at the top of your inhale and how that pause evolves gradually into the exhale, which flows back down the spine like nectar. The feeling tone of emotions transforms in a similar way. If you are able to watch your breath with patient awareness, then it is also possible to watch your emotions ebb and flow with a sense of pure observation. As emotional energy moves within your nervous system, your physiology knows how to discharge those impulses in a proper way. Letting go of regret involves the release of the emotional energy that accompanies memory. If there is some event from the past that still evokes emotional tension that isn't easily released, there is something about that experience that has yet to be understood. watch your breath as it flows in and out. The breath carries this emotional current to its end. As the breath rises and falls, rises and falls up and down the spinal column, you are able to steady your mind rather than letting yourself drift off into memory or fantasy. Memory and fantasy may arise, but you gently lure your awareness back to the breath, back to the present moment. The present is where you are now, and it is where you have potency. The illuminations that have come and will come in the form of regret are able to be transformed into wisdom. 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 Illumination. Illumination. Actions have consequences. Even not taking action has a consequence. There is a chain of cause and effect that proceeds from every choice. You don't know what those consequences will be. You must live going forward, even though you're unable to see the future. You find the right action by integrating the wisdom you carry within you from your understanding. You understand looking backward, reflecting on the past, and gleaning principles by which to live. Mindfulness can free you from regret. It holds your future actions accountable while forgiving your former actions. Forgiveness is a gift, whether you give it to others or to yourself. Neglecting to forgive yourself for your past mistakes only weakens you and keeps the transformation of character at a distance. Excessively punishing yourself for past mistakes only perpetuates the tension that blocks understanding. bring your awareness to the center of your chest. The center of your chest. Watch it rise and fall with the breath. Inhale, chest rising. Exhale, chest falling. Inhale, chest rising. Exhale, chest falling. Inhale, chest rising. Exhale, chest falling. Imagine that your consciousness is located at the center of your chest, and feel a sense of warmth and loving kindness in the center of your chest. Think of someone who is very easy to love. Now, imagine they are located in your heart, right at the center of the chest. Inhale, chest rising. Exhale, chest falling. Inhale, chest rising. Exhale, chest falling. Inhale, chest rising. Exhale, chest falling. The warm, loving sensation that has that positive and constructive quality is the feeling of wanting the best for this other being. In a way, you are able to love them because you are able to imagine them as having as real and complex a life as you yourself have. In this way, you know that you, yourself, have a real and complex inner life, and that you too are worthy of this warm, loving, positive, and constructive emotion. Offer yourself forgiveness and love and compassion. Give yourself the gift of understanding. Breathing in is the active and forward-moving aspect of your breath. You expand and distribute your consciousness to every cell of the body. It's as though the breath is the vehicle for your consciousness. As you exhale, the reflection of the exhale allows you to sense the residue of your last inhalation and integrate the whole experience of one breath cycle. Each new breath is informed by the last one and will subsequently inform the next one. Ride the waves of breath and the waves of life with this sense of adventure. You are on the frontier of life. Connect to your breath and trust the wisdom that speaks within your own heart. This wisdom is felt and not heard. Feel the body telling you to have faith in yourself as you move forward with wisdom from the one place where you actually reside, right here in the present moment. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Sleep, sleep.